Hey Oklahoma City, I'm James Greiner, Councilman for Ward 1. I'm here today with Emmy Hufnagel, who is the Executive Director of First Serve. And so thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, well, I think that most of the residents probably in Oklahoma City have heard of First Tee. It's been around for a long time, and so they might associate this with that. But First Serve is somewhat new, so just walk us through what First Serve is. And anything about it that you think the residents should know.
Sure. Well, First Serve, like First Tee, we have the mission of exposing a lot of kids in Oklahoma City to tennis and really serving the population that couldn't afford to go have a private tennis membership at a club, and introducing them not only to tennis but life skills programs that they learn through tennis. And we are affiliated with the United States Tennis Association, which is our sanctioning body for competitive tennis and recreational tennis in the U.S. The program was started actually in 1969 by Arthur Ashe, and it has grown significantly since the early 2000s when Andre Agassi and his foundation devoted a lot of money to it. There are over 600 chapters in the country, and some of them are very large, some are small. Ours has been identified as a chapter that the USTA wants to grow, and they're providing a lot of resources for us so that we can have an impact in our city. I think geographically, they want to be more present in the Oklahoma City market and in Oklahoma and the Midwest in general. You have a lot of tennis up in Edmond and Norman and kind of the west parts of the city, but not a lot in the center. And Oklahoma City Tennis Center is where we primarily operate out of, and that's in Will Rogers Park, 36th in Portland, the largest, most centrally located park in the city. And so we look out and we see all these tennis courts, and we want it to reflect the population of that area of Oklahoma City, and so that is our goal.
Okay.
So that's kind of an overview of the program.
Right. You mentioned that it's at Will Rogers now.
Right.
And how long have you been operating it at Will Rogers?
Well, there was a pilot camp that was 2 weeks long that was started in 2013. And that was done in conjunction with the Britain Christian Tennis Academy, which is a wonderful program. They operate that through their church and serve a lot of children that have come up and really progressed in tennis. And so that was a 2-week program with the church to see how it would work. And then we decided to expand it last summer. Some of the kids from the church are still involved in this summer program. And so it was a 9-week program last year. And this summer we've continued that 9 weeks, but we've broken it up into 3 sessions. And so now our goal and the thing that we're quickly approaching is making it year-round. In Oklahoma, obviously, you've got factors like ice and sleet and cold weather and winds. And then in the summer, it's very, very hot. So we go half day, but we're actually really close to having indoor courts, as you know, which is partially funded by the city. And so we will be able to have truly a year-round program, hopefully this year with the addition of the indoor courts.
Yeah, no, it's an exciting facility, that's for sure. About how many kids can you handle per session?
Sure. Right now, we're in a capacity building phase, which, in short terms means that basically we're adding resources and developing curriculum and really testing the waters and making sure that our curriculum and our methods of delivering that are sound. And so our capacity for each session is 50. But we have 30 right now in each session that are kind of regularly enrolling and registering in the program. So 50 in 3 sessions. We could have up to 150 kids this summer. A lot of the kids continue on, and that's really the goal, is to see that we're focusing on youth development, not just on introducing kids to tennis. A lot of them will, want to continue and need that development pathway. And then through partnerships with other organizations like the Boys and Girls Club primarily, and also a newer partnership with the YMCA, and also the Oklahoma City Public Schools, we're able to reach a lot of kids just introducing them to the game. We actually reached over 800 in the last year through our partnership with the public schools.
That's cool.
And so they're introduced to it, and then the idea is we show them what tennis is through their PE program. We develop that curriculum. Then we give them some information about the summer camp, and if they want to continue on, then they know what it's about.
The thing I'm most familiar with is the summer camp. So kind of walk through what a typical what a kid is going to experience in
Sure.
that 4 hours during the summer camp.
Sure. Well, in the morning, we have a drop-off between 7:30 and 8. They kind of get there, get their sunscreen on, find their tennis racket, fill up their water bottle, and get going. Then we go out on the court, we stretch and do a warm-up, and then we do a life skills lesson, which is provided by the USTA, so it's tested and results-oriented, and you can show outcomes, which is important for us to know that we're having that impact. And so we'll learn about things like what it means to be a team player, what it means to stay positive, what it means to have good tennis etiquette, even things down to like, hygiene and how to present well and how to introduce yourself to other people.
Right.
So that's a really cool part of the program. The kids really enjoy it, and it's taught through games and game-based kind of role play.
Right.
And then we go about 8:45. We go onto the court. We have a wonderful set of coaches that are either students in high school from the Oklahoma City Public Schools or teachers who are also high school tennis coaches. We break out into the various age groups. They play until about 10:30. And then we have a snack break, and that's provided by the food bank. We have a partnership with them.
Okay.
At no cost to us. They provide healthy snacks and lunches. At 10:45, we go over to the Oklahoma City, to the Will Rogers Garden Center, and we do classroom activities, and those focus on literacy, math, and nutrition. And again, we have some wonderful knockout tutors from Oklahoma City Public Schools, and it's a really cool thing to see the kids engaging with them and continuing to learn things over the summer and not, plugging in or
Yeah, video games and movies all summer. Yeah.
Right.
So what? How much does that cost for three? For the 3-week session?
The 3-week session is $75, and we're able to do that through partnerships with several local foundations that support the program, individual donors who have also given, and so it is subsidized, but for the $75, they're able to attend for 3 weeks. They get a pair of tennis shoes, a racket, a water bottle, a hat, and a t-shirt, so plus lunch, and we hope that it's a really good option for kids and for families, working families.
In my view, it's a great value. I mean, when you look around at other sports camps, usually they're only a week long and they're for about 4 hours a day, and they're about that
Right.
amount of. I mean, even some church camps are that price. So, walk us through kind of a little bit of your history and how you got involved.
Sure. Well, it's kind of a funny history. I, of course, grew up playing tennis and loved tennis, and started coaching when I was pretty young, about 18, and then just never really got away from coaching. I did it full time for about a year in between undergraduate and law school, and so I was coaching for that year, and then I went to law school, knew that I wanted to continue my education, but didn't realize that wasn't probably the best fit for me. I did practice for 5 years, and I really appreciate my friends who love to practice law. It's a really challenging field, but I knew that I wanted to be outdoors and wanted to be connecting with kids. And so in 2011, I was hired by OU, University of Oklahoma, to run their indoor tennis facility. It was new, 6 indoor courts that the team uses, but there was a lot of empty space and time, and so we opened it up to the public. So there I got more involved with the business side of tennis, and after 3 years with OU, this opportunity became available. Our board president is Mark Allen. He's invested heavily, as you know, in the tennis center, and he saw this as the next evolution of being able to create a program that really changes the demographics of tennis that are played at the Oklahoma City Tennis Center, so that it's really representative of that area, central Oklahoma City.
Right. Well, I'm a tennis fan. I've never played competitively or anything, but I grew up in the era of Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi. You mentioned Andre Agassi earlier,
Yes.
and I enjoyed having a dominant American.
Sure.
And we don't have that now.
You're
and
absolutely
so
right.
So that is one of the reasons
Not
why.
on the men's side.
Not on the men's side, yes.
Right.
Yeah, the Williams sisters definitely do it on the
They
girls
do.
on the women's side, but so that's one of the benefits I see, because we focus a lot. You mentioned also earlier about teaching them team play, and this
Right.
and most people think of tennis as an individual sport,
Sure.
and in a lot of ways it is, but we focus a lot with kids on basketball, baseball, football, these team sports, and
Right.
there's a lot of things a lot of ways to get involved in those sorts of things. And so I see a real value in trying to get kids into tennis at an early age, especially for people like me that I can't really teach my kids how to play tennis correctly, and so that's why I really enjoy it. And Seth actually comes home and he teaches me some things, and it's really fun.
Seth can hit a pretty mean topspin forehand now. We enjoyed having your son in our first session, and your daughter Lydia, of course. And you brought up a lot of really great points about talent identification, and you nailed the focus of the USTA. The USTA has a foundation, as most large organizations do, and they are supporting these national junior tennis and learning programs like ours and JTLs. And they're looking at that for the next talent from the U.S. because the U.S. over the last couple of decades, as you know, we haven't been as deep, and we haven't been able to produce the players that some smaller countries are.
Right.
The European countries, some South American countries, Russia, now China, they're really producing quality players at the rate that the U.S. is not, especially disproportionately with our population.
Right.
And one of the theories, there are a couple of different theories. One is that we're not teaching to children. They don't want to stand in a line. They don't want to use adult-sized rackets. They don't want to be in a sport where it's so much pressure so early on them. And so a way that the USTA has changed the game is to change the rules and to modify it, make the courts smaller, as you've seen at the tennis center, so that it's more fun for kids. You know, we do need it to be fun, because if we don't, then they want to go play soccer because all their buddies play soccer. Soccer's a great sport, but we think tennis is too. And I know Seth is very into soccer as well.
No, he likes everything.
Yeah, and we want him to like everything until he's about 11, and then he can just like tennis. But the USDA has really seen, you know, the other countries that have been doing this for a long time, they've been making it more child-focused instead of the coach standing at the net feeding to a line of kids who are, you know, 4 back at the baseline. It just doesn't work. And then the other thing that is really significant is that they've said, what about the work ethic? You know, it can be a sport where, as with any sport, you have parents and you have coaches that are really leading that child in the individual pursuit of, you know, reaching their potential. But, you know, through these programs that the USTA has developed, you know, they're really teaching those characteristics of accountability and, you know, with hard work you can achieve, and creating opportunities for kids that probably wouldn't have that opportunity otherwise. And so they're really gravitating toward that. You know, we work with the Boys and Girls Club, like I mentioned. Some of those kids, most of them, have never heard of tennis. And so it's something new, and it's something that a lot of athletes, I think young athletes especially, that are naturally going to gravitate toward the basketball or the soccer ball. They're kind of like, when's it going to be my turn? You know, when I was playing basketball, I was like, guys, I'm over here. I know I'm 6 feet tall, but I'm just waiting my turn, right? In tennis, every other ball is you, which is really cool, but it's also really, it can be very vulnerable feeling. And so there are so many different things that you learn about life when you're on the tennis court, and that's really what the central tenets of the program are, is that we can change lives through what we teach kids on tennis. They become engaged, it's important to them, they want to do well in the classroom so that they can achieve.
All right. Well, we just have a few seconds left, so if anybody's interested in getting involved, how do they contact you or somebody within First Serve?
The best way to do it would be to email me at firstserveokc@gmail.com or call the Oklahoma City Tennis Center.
Okay.
I could rattle that number, but I might get it wrong. So it's online, and the staff at the tennis center are wonderful, and they will direct them to me.
Okay. Well, sounds good. Well, thanks.
Thank you.